Yo, what's good, Tristans and Tris fam? We're gonna do something different today. So I have been like super shy to do any sort of a Q&A because I've just been like, who the f cares? Who cares enough to ask me questions and to care about my life? But today we're gonna do that while I show you guys my makeup routine. Because a lot of people for some reason have been asking me about my makeup routine. Like, I think that people are just being nice, to be honest with you, but I think it'd be a fun video. But before we get started, check me out on Instagram and Twitter. Let's go. So very quickly, before we jump into the first question, the first thing that I need to take care of today are these brows. Because damn, these shit's looking ratchet. Well, actually, they're looking pretty fly. But still, they gotta get done. So the first thing I'm gonna do here is start tweezing out this unibrow. Let's get this taken care of. The most important thing that I try to do when I'm doing my eyebrows is just to not overpluck them, because that shit looks nasty. I'd rather underpluck them than overpluck them. My first question here, have you ever given anyone a singing lesson and thought he or she is hopeless? Not because of their voice, but because of their personality. Absolutely, I have. There's some people that just will not practice, and they will lie about practicing, and they are, in that regard, very hopeless. There are people that I've taught who just want to argue with you and fight with you, and those people are hopeless. But not because of their voice, it's just because of their personality. Look, when you're a singing teacher, you got to deal with a lot of people's shit. A lot of people have like psychological issues. A lot of people have psychological issues, and those people aren't hopeless. But those people a lot of times come to you with psychological problems because you sort of get like a close relationship with them. And especially for those people, singing is not their issue. Their issues go far deeper than singing, and those things need to get taken care of before they can start establishing healthy singing routines. And those people are always difficult to. It's hard to break that to someone. But there have been a few times, especially as I got more and more popular on YouTube, that I would have to cut off relationships with students because I felt like it was getting unhealthy and parasocial. You know what I'm saying? So we tweezed out some of the nastiness, and for the most part I like the shape that my brows have right now, so I'm just gonna shave off the baby hairs growing back. Keep it simple. This is how I prepare for every video, by the way. And I think that, by the way, all guys should be doing their eyebrows. That's my take on this, because I see some nasty ass looking eyebrows from dudes out there, and they're like, why can't I get a date? Why won't girls talk to me? Well, how about you start off getting rid of that unibrow, bitch? So the most important thing is that I don't overdo it or f up shaving here. Oh my god, when I was in middle school, I used to shave my eyebrows. I would not use tweezers, I don't know why, and they looked disgusting. I just took a razor and put it straight down the middle of my face. It looked awful. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is just take my little eyebrow scissors here and see if I can trim off any eyebrow hairs that are popping out. Instead of over plucking your eyebrows, you don't have to pluck all of the hairs. You can just scissor them off. Oops. All right, I might have fucked that up, but yeah, there's some parts here I fucked up. I gotta wait for it to grow back. It is what it is. Shush stars. People like to say that your eyebrows shouldn't be shush stars. They should be twins, but I can't help but disagree with that. Mine are twins, baby. What inspired you to start a YouTube channel? I was inspired to start a YouTube channel because I really liked singing instruction videos. And at the time, you guys, there was not Vocal Coach Reacts. There wasn't none of this craziness going on YouTube. We're going to start doing my foundation now. This is what I use. I don't know if you can see it. How do I do this? It's like a cheap drugstore foundation here in Germany. I like it. I think the most important thing, I don't really know a lot about foundation or makeup, but to me, the only important thing is that it matches my skin so I don't look like I'm wearing makeup. Ideally, that's what I want to have going on here. But yeah, before Vocal Coach Reacts was a thing, so where do I want to put this? I just cover up like the redness on my nose and shit. I get a little bit of acne on the sides here where I shave, so cover that up. And I just smear it on. That's how you're supposed to do it, I'm pretty sure. You just smear it on. Yeah, before Vocal Coach Reacts was a thing, Vocal Coach instruction channels were very niche, and they would only, oh my god, I just got foundation all over my eyelashes. What am I doing? Vocal Coach, oh my god. In the Vocal Coach instruction videos, the traditional ones would only get like 500 views a pop, and I always knew that singing instruction could be a bigger thing, but that people weren't capitalizing on it, or like people's content just wasn't interesting. And so that's kind of what got me started, was like I wanted to make singing instruction content that was actually modern, if that makes sense, at least to a certain extent, to a certain degree. And so that's why I got started, is I thought I could figure out how to do it. And it took me a long time to figure it out, which sounds really stupid because it's not like Vocal Coach Reacts is a very original concept. But I saw Brad Mundo doing his hairdresser shit, and I was like, yo, that's genius. So that's how I started. By the way, shout out to Brad Mundo. I would love to have him do my hair one day. Ugh, I've got some nasty acne today. When did I realize I wanted to be a vocal coach? It wasn't until college that I got interested in singing in the first place. But in college, I got interested in singing, and then I wanted to figure out for myself, like, because there's all these confusing terms, all this confusing stuff when you get involved in it. Everybody calls something a different thing, and I wanted to know, before I got into vocal coaching, before I was studying music in college, I was doing chemistry, and I've always been very like analytic minded, scientific minded. I don't know how to describe it without sounding like a pretentious asshole, but I've always been very analytical and I want facts. Do you know what I'm saying? And I kept going to all these singing lessons where the teacher would tell me to like channel my aura, or to like imagine that my voice is spinning across the room and things like that. And it didn't help at all. Like, it just didn't help me. Like, I spent a lot of time and a lot of money on different teachers. And I'm not saying that those things can't be helpful, because I know now that they can be helpful, that sort of imagery. But for me, just my learning style, that wasn't very helpful. And so I realized like I needed to figure out what was going to work for me, because I realized pretty quickly on that I was really untalented. I would go in for my lessons, and the other students would all be so good, and then they didn't even really know what they were doing. They would be like 16 sometimes. And so I quickly realized I needed to figure out like what is actually going on in here that makes this stuff work, so that I could start to figure things out myself. And that's when I decided that I wanted to be a vocal coach. There are vocal coaches out there that do that kind of stuff, don't get me wrong, and those people are huge inspirations to me. But for the most part, it's not something that people do very much. Like, it's getting a little bit more popular and contemporary now, but back then it wasn't so much. So that's when I really first realized that I liked it. And so then I kept just exploring the topic and learning more about the science about singing, and reading all of the like books about singing instruction that have gone throughout that have been published ever since. Like, I read books that were published back in the 1800s and stuff like that, which were really strange to read. Although they're correct in a lot of ways, they're also very weird. Like, back then, people really believed some crazy things about how the voice worked that have nothing to do with how the voice actually works. So you can only imagine like how that instruction must have been like, and how confusing that must have been like for like the average person when they're telling you to do things that they say are scientifically sound but actually aren't. And I just find that stuff very interesting. I love science, and I love combining science and music and science and art, which is why I decided to I'm going to be going to school again soon for voice and studying more about the science, because there's a really cool school here in Europe that I really have wanted to go to for a very long time that does their own research, like peer-reviewed research. It's the only institution that does that sort of thing. And so I'm really excited to get involved with that. It'd be really cool if I could one day publish research myself. That would be so fun. So I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing here. I've got a nasty ass zit up here. Do you see that? It's disgusting. Do you know that popping zits on YouTube is now demonetizable? Isn't that nuts? Of the singers you've reviewed, which one sings the worst? I think the one that I was probably the most shocked by was Fergie, to be honest with you. I think that was the first Vocal Coach Reacts video that I ever did, and one of the most shocking. It's just amazing to me what goes on in Hollywood. Is that right? Hollywood? I don't know what to describe it as. So when I'm trying to cover up this zit, or zits in general, like a lot of times I will just use my fingers because it's a little bit more precise. So let's just slap that on there. We're almost done, yo. There we go. Just let that kind of dry, I guess. So the next thing I'm going to do is put on some concealer. I just started using concealer, so I don't know what I'm doing. I don't think I know what I'm doing with foundation either, but it is what it is, right? This concealer, I just got it randomly. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't really even know if it matters. I don't know. I'm going to spill some tea. I think that it's so crazy to me whenever I watch these makeup review channels. Like, how many fucking makeup products are like do you need? How many are out there? Is it really necessary? Do you know what I mean? Do you really need like how many different foundations? Like, it's all the same shit. But I don't know, maybe it's just me. Just resell the same shit over and over again in different packaging. and pretend it's new. I think it's bullshit. I just use drugstore stuff and it works fine. I'm sure most people understand what I'm saying. Most of y'all just use drugstore shit and it looks fine. I don't think it's really about what you're using. I think it's more about how you apply it. And clearly I don't know how to apply it. The one thing I hate is when my eyes look all white because I get concealer on them or foundation. It looks terrible. Right, I'm looking good. You looking fly over here, right? Damn. If you had one chance to do over in life, what would you do differently? I would have started singing a very long time ago. I always wanted to sing, but I never just had like the guts to admit it to myself, you know what I mean? I took like guitar lessons when I was in middle school, but I never really wanted to play guitar. I wanted to sing while I played guitar. Guitar was sort of the afterthought in that. So that's what I would have done. I would have started a long time ago because it's so difficult to start later on in life. Not that you can't. Pavarotti, I don't think, started studying to sing until his 20s, early 20s or something like that. It's a lot easier if you start as a kid. If nothing else, just because you have more time. Would you ever consider doing a meet and greet? I would, but I live in Germany, you guys. I'm surprised actually no one's asking me about that. Do you want the tea on that? All my audience is in the US. How does my zit look? It's all right, right? Could use maybe another layer. I'm living here because I'm going to, there's a school here in Europe that I've always wanted to go to. So I decided to move here so that I could go to voice school, which is going to start for me pretty soon. And I'm really excited about that. I'm hoping maybe, this is a secret, you guys, don't tell anybody, that I can do some videos with the school. That'd be really cool. I feel like with education, you can never get enough. And I'm reinvesting all of the money that I make on the channel back into my education and the channel itself, whether it's upgrading my camera, going to school, relocating, paying crazy high German taxes. But it's worth it because I don't care if I'm broke. If I have like, education is just fun as hell to me, you know what I'm saying? Stay in school, kids. Who has a better voice, Ariana Grande or Demi Lovato? This is a very, I've got a hot take on this one that I think is rather unique. I don't think that it makes very much sense to, people who are like really into voice instruction love doing this thing where they, ooh, I'm looking snatched. Ooh. A lot of vocal instruction and people who are into vocal instruction love to do this thing where they compare singers. Usually it's female singers, which is also rather interesting to me that they choose to do that with female singers. It doesn't happen as much with men. No offense to the person asking the question. There's a reason why some people listen to Beyonce. There's a reason why some people listen to Taylor Swift. There's a reason why some people listen to Ariana. And they stan these particular singers. And as weird as it sounds, and I know that a lot of people will disagree with this, but I don't think that anyone is necessarily better or worse, if that makes sense, because it's art. And with art, it's subjective, and it's up to the artist and what the artist wants to do with their own voice. If Taylor Swift is happy with her tone and happy with what she's doing with her voice and the things that she's able to artistically create with her voice, you can't really say, oh, she's objectively better, because art is inherently subjective. It's like saying Picasso is a bad painter because his paintings don't look real or they're not realistic or whatever standard you want to hold it to. I don't think that is how art works. So to me personally, that's not how I see it. Because Ariana Grande and Demi Lovato do two different things. They sing two different styles, two different songs, and they do two completely different things with their voices. So neither one is better or worse. And just like from a practical point of view, as someone who's trying to learn how to sing, or for aspiring singers, the important thing is that you're happy with what you're doing with your voice. It doesn't matter what someone else is doing with their voice. What matters the most is that you're doing what you need to do with your voice and the steps that you need to take in order to get your voice to where you want it to be. Do you know what I'm saying? So this whole like idea of like, oh, there's tiers of singers and blah, 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 I think it's just made up. I think that human beings just make that up because it's fun. Of course, you want to be able to sing healthy. Like, you don't want to destroy your voice. But as long as you're singing healthy and you're doing what you want to do with your voice, can't nobody tell you otherwise. Goddamn, this zit does not want to go away. Oh no. So I think we're almost done here. Just layering up the foundation on this bad boy. Just gonna let that dry for a second. Just put this on my arm or something. So next thing I'm gonna do is my hair. I use this hair wax, and I always do my hair pretty badly, I think. I don't know what this is. It's German, I think. Who knows? I'm not sure how I like to do my hair. What is my dream collaboration? I really want to do a video with Justin Bieber. Like, I've always imagined myself doing a video with Justin Bieber. I don't know why. I feel like it would be so interesting to like do a real interview with him, if that makes sense, and really get into his head. I don't know why. I think he's so fascinating. Ooh, girl. How do I pronounce my last name? I wish I knew. In Spanish, it's something like Paredes. Paredes or something. I don't speak Spanish though, but it's a Mexican last name, I believe. Ooh, girl. Flatten up the sides here. And we just about good to go to start filming some videos. I only do makeup for videos, or sometimes if I'm going on a hot date. You know, you got to do the eyebrows, maybe a little bit of concealer. You don't want them to know that you got the concealer on, just enough. And then maybe cover up a little bit of the zits. You know what I mean? Put some effort in. You know what I mean? Whoever you're going on a date with is putting in effort. Put in the effort. So I think we're done here. We looking pretty good. It looks good here. It looks good there. I think the foundation on my zit still needs to dry, but we doing all right. We doing all right. But anyway, hopefully y'all like this video. Maybe I'll do another one sometime. Hopefully you like seeing my little routine here. It's nothing special. Drugstore products. That's it. And this nasty ass blender, beauty blender. Ugh. Ratchet. But it is what it is. Hopefully you like this video. Be sure you subscribe. And until next time, Tristans and Tris fam, peace out.